For all your TCG needs, make sure to check out alphatradingcardgames.com. What's poppin', everybody? This is Sabro594. This is gonna be difficult for some of you guys to hear, but I gotta say what I gotta say. Before I get to my rant, I want to quickly mention a different Digimon video from a YouTuber called Louis the Panda. I don't really watch this guy's videos, but this was just a good random video that I watched in regards to power creep for the Digimon TCG. The name of the video is Digimon TCG, What Happened to the Game? Too much power creep, he has in the thumbnail there. And that's a much simpler video. It pretty much sums up the situation with power creep for Digimon. He made it a while back. But for me, if you were to ask me, as somebody that has played so many other TCGs for 20 years plus up to this point, it's not as simple as power creep for Digimon. I really do think that Digimon is going into the direction of Yugioh. I mean, Yugioh, it took quite a few years to get to the point where it is right now, where it's a complete fucking mess. And I don't want to be a prophet and say it's going to happen soon with Digimon. It might take some time, but I think eventually we are going to get to that point. And if you look at the signs, there's a lot of indications. I'm not just pulling this out of my ass. Number one, the rotation versus having all cards available problem. So I suspected from the beginning that Digimon wasn't going to have a rotation-based system like Pokemon. And that's because I know how most people are. Bandai knows how most people are. Short-sighted is the best way I can describe it. And I'm not trying to be rude. Most people don't like rotations because they want to believe or they want to have the freedom to use any card they want. If they bought a product, they bought some cards, they want to know they can always use them, even though it's mostly an illusion. For Pokemon, even though there's obviously power creep and they know when they're making more broken cards than others, they always know that if we leave X deck from a few previous sets around, it's fine because eventually it's going to rotate out and people are going to have to get the new cards, buy the new products, and a lot of people just update to new decks just to keep up, get a head start, I guess. With Digimon though, it's the same as Yugioh. If there's not going to be any rotation and they're going to have all of the cards around, what do they need to do? Every set, which they come out super quick, Digimon, once again, I mean, it's the same blueprint as Yugioh. Yugioh comes out with so many different sets slash booster boxes. They've got the regular sets that come out every 4 or 3 months. And then they got a million other special sets with holo cards. You got the legendary duelist collections, goes from the past, etc. So many different types of Yu-Gi-Oh products that come out just every freaking month. And Digimon, that's another thing that's so similar. I mean, we got Dimensional Phase in February, and there's already on the website the BT12 set with the Knights. It's gonna come out in April, just 2 months pretty much after Dimensional Phase. That's too quick. And it's not even like a special set, you can say. It's the next main set. There's already a bunch of cards on the Digimon ban list, and as we progress further and further, they release more broken stuff. Once again, it's just something else that's going to mimic how the Yu-Gi-Oh card game is. Eventually there's going to be a Digimon ban list that's 10 pages long like a magazine, just like Yu-Gi-Oh. Another thing that I see that's not a good sign, you guys might think I'm crazy to complain about this, but once again, I don't just see the now, I see the bigger picture. It's all of the damn searchers and searchers, they keep printing cards, Digimon cards, with the same old search effect. Reveal the top 4, search something. Just every card, every archetype needs to have this. And once again, it just doesn't make it special. It makes it like Yu-Gi-Oh basically, where you just want a bunch of floaters, everything's good, and that's how it's gonna be. Obviously, consistency is important, and if more decks have searchers, it means more stuff is consistent, but it just doesn't become a special effect anymore when all the cards, all of the different decks do the same shit. It isn't even that special. Once again, it becomes like Yu-Gi-Oh. To me, when I look at Digimon's approach in the sets and the cards they print, It's like they don't really have faith on their own cards. When I look at something like the EX era, which I've praised so many times before for Pokemon, 16 sets, wide variety of cards. If you go to Jason Klasinski's WordPress page and look at all of the different decks from that era, it's a beautiful compatibility and synergy between all of the cards from all of the 16 sets. You look at the sets in that era, even if you look at the oldest ones, like the first ones, Ruby, Sapphire, Sandstorm Dragon, Hidden Legends, they complement the later sets, like the last few sets of the era, and vice versa. It's like a beautiful synergy. You look at Digimon though, and even worse what Yu-Gi-Oh is, but let's focus on Digimon. Yeah, technically all of the cards are available. You can use any card you want, but it's really just an illusion. I mean, I look at the, first few starter decks, the boss Digimon over there. I look at things like Shine Greymon from the Structure Deck 7. Shine Greymon, Piercing, Security +1. I look at it in my eyes, good Digimon. And then you look at something like Jesmon, which is so much more broken, and other cards with so many more effects. That's not even years apart. And they're already irrelevant, already such a big power creep. It's not gonna get any better. I mean, they went ahead with this path, it's only gonna get worse. And then another thing, I made a video a while back as well, talking about the problems with Digimon TCG, and people wanted to eat my ass, saying Digimon TCG is complicated. That's a little bit my fault. I didn't explain myself too well, but I was misunderstood. Obviously, I know the rules, I know how to play, I know what things like Blocker does and Rush does, obviously, but the point that I was trying to make with that is that they keep making these little effects, they keep printing cards with a lot of effects, once again, mimicking Yu-Gi-Oh! Keep adding in and introducing new mechanics, and that just adds to the power creep as well. I mean, I look at all of the cards in the Draconic Roar EX3 set. Long ass texts, pretty much they gotta work with each other. It's almost like you technically have creative freedom, but you really don't. I mean, you're supposed to, they make it so you're supposed to use all of the new cards together basically. But anyway, going back to rotations, the way I see it, Digimon TCG was perfect for rotations, just like Pokemon. Monster-based series, with Pokemon, they print other Pokemon cards with different attacks, different effects, whatever. It's the same with Digimon. It's not like your favorite characters are going to go away and, they're never going to print a Patamon card again or a Greymon card. It's a much more effective system to tidy things up. But as I've said, people don't want this. They want to believe they have the freedom to use every card. Bandai knows this as well. That's why they wouldn't make a rotation. And what really happens, and this is fact, is all of the older cards that are useless become irrelevant anyway, and nobody can use them for tournaments and stuff. And then what happens is there's one loop or one combo that's created with a bunch of new cards and a random old card that everybody forgot. And then it leads to bullshit like FDKs, loops, broken ass combos, and then X card gets banned, and then they have to worry about not to print a card with a similar effect, and a bunch of other bullshit. Another perfect example, if you want to use Pokemon, the expanded format. More cards that are available together, more sets, much more broken format, night and day difference with standard. And I get it. I get that people don't like rotations, but I say these things as somebody that has a lot of experience playing TCGs for so many years, having experienced Yu-Gi-Oh! From the start to the bullshit that it is today, playing Pokemon, Duel Masters, Digimon. I see the patterns. I see what works and what doesn't. But anyway, I do want to close this off by saying that maybe I'll be proven completely wrong, and maybe eventually Bandai is gonna do rotations just like Pokemon. Although I don't really see it, because I know that most people don't want rotations, and Pokemon gets away with it because they started a while back. I mean, it was a long time ago. That shit got implemented and people are used to it. But it really depends on if its popularity, if it's gonna stay popular. I mean, I know that Dragon Ball is gonna get an online game finally, so my guess is maybe eventually Digimon is gonna get, perhaps One Piece even. It really depends. We're gonna have to see. I mean, another thing that I don't like that Bandai is doing is having all of these TCGs. It's just much harder to manage so many of them and try and make sure all of them are good and balanced. Of course, I don't want to be selfish and say, yeah, they should just focus on Digimon or just one. Obviously, I'm a big fan of One Piece as well. But, I mean, as I say, it's a clusterfuck up to this point. We'll see what happens, but for me, I mean, maybe if an online Digimon game comes out and I change my mind. As far as what I think though, I mean, I have a bunch of other Digimon products on the way. It's pretty much all I've been buying in terms of physical cards lately. After I get Dimensional Phase, which I think is the last set that I want to get, I'm not gonna buy anything else. Unless I see what happens. Because I mean, at this point, they're just going nuts at the same time. Like I've said, just product after product. So many booster boxes, so many sets. Coming out with a box every 2 months. It's just too fast, man. The Yu-Gi-Oh approach, like I've said. But anyways, that's all I got. There's probably a lot of things that I forgot to talk about. Very unorganized rant. But this is what I had to say about today. The main takeaway is, remember this in a few years. If I'm right, if I'm wrong, remember that I said it though. I do think that Digimon is going in the direction of Yu-Gi-Oh! It might become just like that someday. Who knows? Super broken, super fast, and everybody's gonna be, how the fuck did this happen? These are the signs. Saberwolf94, thank you guys for watching. Leave a like, share this video with your friends, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. What a